We're still in our World War II series, so don't forget we've ditched the 19 part of the date. So today's date is December 1944, or 1244, the Battle of the Bulge. Also known as the Ardennes Offensive, it was the last major German offensive campaign on the Western Front, similar to the Battle of Kursk on the Eastern Front. The goal was for the Germans to try and split the Allied forces and then encircle them and destroy them, similar to the Blitzkrieg attacks during the Battle of France in May 1940. Hitler hoped this would lead to a peace treaty between the West and Axis powers, allowing him to concentrate fully on the Eastern Front. The Allies were totally surprised by the attack for a number of reasons. One was because the Allies were not expecting this kind of attack. Not because they were complacent, but because it made no sense. The Germans were going to use up a huge amount of their forces in this way, and it would only hurt them in the long run. Plus, the offensive relied on the German army capturing fuel from the Allies as they moved forward in order to fuel their tanks, which was not great tactically. 2. The Allies were busy planning for other offensives of their own, and Eisenhower had left the Ardennes region sparsely defended. And 3. The bad weather prevented not just aerial reconnaissance to capture the build-up of German troops, but it also negated the superior air power of the Allies. On the 16th of December, two Panzer armies began the offensive. The Americans suffered at the beginning, but then put up fierce resistance at the Elsenborn Bridge and Bastogne, a strategic crossroads town which was encircled by the Germans. On the 24th of December, the weather improved and air attacks began by the Allies, which sealed the failure of the offensive. Patton's Third Army eventually reached Bastogne from the south, breaking the siege around the town. Trapped pockets of the German forces attempted breakouts, some successful, others not. The Bulge in the front line was gone by January 1945. Roughly 400,000 Germans fought in the battle and nearly 100,000 were killed. Germany lost much of its armoured forces and a lot of aircraft and pilots it could ill afford to lose. The offensive set back the Allied invasion by several weeks, however the Luftwaffe were done as an effective fighting force. The Battle of the Bulge prompted the first step towards desegregation of the US armed forces. A shortage of troops around Bastogne convinced Eisenhower to integrate African American soldiers into combat units, where before they had been confined to mostly maintenance or service positions. From this point forward, Germany was in retreat on all sides, not just the Eastern Front. To remember this date, let's take the front line in the Ardennes. In come the Germans from the far right, of course, and they push the line backwards, creating the Bulge. Then the American forces push back from the left, and the line starts to reform into our date. December 1944, or 1244, the Battle of the Bulge begins. Thanks for watching.